Hi everyone. Today we will discuss about method of usage of resistance strain gauge. In this class, we will see about the what are the different methods of usage in resistance strain gauge. That resistance strain gauge is used in different applications. So what are the different applications? What are those different methods of this resistance strain gauge? We will discuss in this class. In previous class, we will discuss about the strain gauge materials and alloys and also adhesives. What are the different strain gauge alloys and materials used in the strain gauge manufacturing? The strain gauges are used in the different applications based upon temperature calculation or pressure calculations or strain measurement or acceleration measurement. So many different applications we are using strain gauges. In that strain gauges, we have available different types of strain gauges. What is the different techniques is taking to manufacture that type of strain gauges? And what are the different types of materials is used to manufacture that type of strain gauges? These are all topics we are discussed in previous classes. Okay, so coming to today's class, it is method of usage of resistance strain gauge. What are the different methods used in the resistance strain gauge at different applications? First of all, you can see what is temperature effects and need for temperature compensation. What is temperature effect and what is need of strain gauges in that temperature effect? What is the temperature compensation by using different strain gauges used to measure the temperature, and what are the different effects on that strain gauge? You can see what are the uh, temperature effects and what is the need of temperature uh, for the temperature compensation of strain gauges. You can see measurements are performed with strain gauges in mechanical stress analysis to examine loading and fatigue. So the measurements are performed with strain gauges in mechanical stress analysis. That means, for example, I'm taking one object. I'm taking one object. So in that object, I'm placing strain gauge. A strain gauge is placed on that object. So any type of forces, it is a compressive forces or tensile forces, any type of forces you are acting on that body. Okay, you are acting on that object. I am taking tensile forces. Tensile forces. Tensile forces are acting on that body. You can observe it is in stable without loads are acting on this body, without load acting. Okay, without loads are acting, without load, without load. That means any type of tensile forces are not acting on this body. And you can observe after applying the tensile forces on this body, after applying the tensile forces on this body. Okay, it is object and it is strain gauge. Strain strain gauge. Okay, so we are applying the tensile forces. After applying the tensile forces on that object, you can see what are the changes occurred. What are the different changes occurred in this object? Okay, so the area of the object is changed. The area of the object is changed. Area. Area is changed. Okay, the area of the object is changed and the length of the object is changed. If the area and the length of the object is changed, when automatically the resistance is also changed in the strain gauge. Okay, so that is the minimum steps of that minimum working procedure of this strain gauge. It is attached with any type of object. So what he told, measurements are performed with strain gauges in mechanical stress analysis. Any type of mechanical forces are acting on this object. Any type of mechanical forces, that is tensile forces or compressive forces or constant forces, any type of forces are acting on this object, that should be loading and fatigue. That should be loading and fatigue. Different loads are applied on this. Different loads are applied on this object, and fatigue is also applied on this object. Okay. In addition to the desired measurement signal indicating mechanical strain, each strain gauge also produces a temperature dependent measurement signal. We can calculate temperature, or we can apply the different loads on this object. It should getting some temperature. It should getting some temperature effect. It should getting some temperature effect. Okay. So for example, if we take one iron plate or iron box, one plate of iron box or iron plate, you can take continuously. You are applying the load on that object continuously. A load is acting on that object. In certain amount of time, it should be lost the it should lost that original shape of that object. It should lose the original shape of the object. That means the area of the object is changed, and also the temperature is developed on this object. The temperature is developed on this object. Due to this temperature analysis, how much amount of temperature effects on this object? That means the temperature is very high, highly developed on this object. Some type of objects, uh, it is suitable to that temperature, and some type of object it is not suitable for that type of temperature. Then that type of object should be damaged. Okay, so that is the temperature effect, effects based upon the strain gauges. Okay, and next one, each strain gauge also produces a temperature dependent measurement signal. Each strain gauge also produces a temperature dependent measurement signal. So any type of strain gauge you can take, uh, it produces a temperature dependent measurement signal. You can calculate that strain gauge should calculate the temperature also, that has a temperature indicating device. Okay, this signal is called the apparent strain. This signal, so such amount of um, objects we are connected strain gauges, different loads are acting on that objects, automatically the temperature is developed. So the strain gauge gives the some amount of signal. That means how much temperature is developed on that object. So the strain gauge, it gives the signal. Okay, this signal is called the apparent strain. This signal is called apparent strain. it is superimposed on the actual measured value. That is the superimposed actual measured value by using that strain gauge. Okay, so what are the different effects of these strain gauges used in the um, different applications? You can see various effects contribute to the apparent strain. Thermal expansion of the measurement object. Suppose the strain gauge is placed in some thermal areas. That means in that strain gauges we are used to calculate the temperature or any type of thermal expansions. It is a cooling or heated heating areas. We should calculate that strain, that is thermal expansion of the measurement object. Thermal expansion of the measurement object, so that amount of temperature is falls on the strain gauge, strain due entirely to temperature with no mechanical loading as the cause. Strain due to entirely to temperature with no mechanical loading. That means in the thermal expansion, no amount of mechanical loads are not acting on the object. Any type of mechanical loads, that is tensile loads or compressive loads or different amount of loads are not acting on this strain gauge. Okay, only the temperature is acts on this strain gauge. That is the thermal expansion of the measurement of the object. The temperature is measured by using that strain gauge. And temperature dependent change in the strain gauge resistance. Temperature dependent, it is temperature dependent change in the strain gauge resistance. So the temperature changes, it is dependent on the change in resistance. So the strain gauge resistance is changed, automatically the temperature is changed. The temperature is changed in that strain gauge, automatically the resistance of strain gauge is also changed. So that is the relation between the temperature in between the strain gauge resistance. Okay, next thermal contraction of the strain gauge measuring grid foil. Thermal contraction of the strain gauge measuring grid foil. So the thermal contraction, there is a grid foil is placed in the strain gauge. So already I will explain what is strain gauge and what are the constructional details of the strain gauge. Suppose you can see that strain gauge. These are the lids of that strain gauge. And next one, the grid is placed on the strain gauge. The grid is placed on the strain gauge. It is the grid foil. It is the grid foil. What he told, the thermal contraction of the strain gauge measuring grid foil. How much amount of thermal contraction is developed on the strain gauge? The grid foil is helps to um, calculate that amount of thermal contraction developed in the strain gauge. Okay, so it is the grid foil. This grid foil is used to how much amount of temperature developed in the strain gauge. It is calculated with the help of a sensor is placed and a display is placed. With the help of that display, that amount of temperature value we can see on that display. Okay, and next one, temperature response of the connection of wires. So in that different objects we are using and different connections we are using, that is bonded strain gauge or unbonded strain gauge or wire type strain gauges we are using. The wires are connected to that strain gauge, automatically the temperature is developed. So how much amount of temperature is affected on that strain gauge, it is also to be calculated by using um, a signal we are getting on that strain gauge. Okay, so these are the various effects of this strain gauge, various effects of the temperature um, dependent of the strain gauge. And next one, What are the methods of temperature compensations? What are the different methods of temperature compensation? It is active dummy method and temperature response matching or self compensation method by connecting several strain gauges together to form a half or full bridge. Okay, so these are the different methods of the temperature compensation method. That means automatically how much amount of temperature is developed on that strain gauge, how it should be calculated based upon these different methods. Okay, that is active dummy method and temperature response matching or self compensation method. And next one, by connecting several strain gauges together to form a half or full bridge method. Okay, these are the different methods. First one, active dummy method. So in that active dummy method, we can calculate how much amount of temperature is developed on the strain gauge with acting different loads on the strain gauge. So in that strain gauge, there are different types of loads are acting on that strain gauge. Automatically, the length of the strain gauge is changed, the area of the strain gauge is changed, the resistance of the strain gauge is changed, the resistance of the strain gauge is changed, and automatically the temperature of the strain gauge is changed. So the without acting, that means um, no loads are acting on that strain gauge. Uh, that means in stable position. We are not acting any type of loads on that strain gauge. The temperature is stable condition. The temperature is stable condition. That means the room temperature, any type of anywhere you can uh, calculate the measuring of the uh, different applications. That amount of temperature is provided on the strain gauge. That means the room temperature is placed on the strain gauge. We are acting some different loads on that strain gauge. We are acting some different loads. That means tensile forces are tensile loads are compressive loads. That means different types of loads are acting. Automatically the area, the length, the resistance is changed. If the resistance is changed, the temperature is changed. So the temperature is coming from the stable condition to the changing position or changing the temperature at a some certain point. Okay, so this should be calculated by using different methods. That is active dummy method under temperature response machining for self compensation method, and several strain gauges are connected together to form a half or full bridge circuit. Okay, so the active dummy method uses the two gauge system. That means two strain gauges we are used in the active dummy method. In this active gauge, A is bonded to the measuring object and dummy gauge D is bonded to a dummy block. So we are taking two strain gauges, one is A and another one is D. So the A is connected to the object. The A is connected to the object. A is connected to the object, and the D is the dummy gauge is connected to the is bonded to the dummy block. Dummy block, which is free from the stress of the measuring object, but under the same temperature conditions as that affecting on the measuring object. So it is free stress. Free stress occurred. Only the stress is placed on this object. Only the stress is placed on this object. There is no amount of stress is falls on this the dummy strain gauge. Okay, but the temperature is varied both these strain gauges. The temperature is changes both these strain gauges. Okay, so the same temperature condition as the affecting the measuring object. The dummy block should be made of the same material as the measuring object. If we are using same material to be manufactured these two strain gauges. Okay, two types of strain gauges we are using, that is A and D. I will put a name, that is A strain gauge and D strain gauge. These two strain gauges we are using only one type of material. We are not taking two different materials of these strain gauges. Only we are taking one type of material of this strain gauge. Okay, you can see As shown figure, the two gauges are connected to adjacent sides of the bridge. The two gauges are connected to adjacent sides of the bridge. Since the measuring object and the dummy block are under the same temperature condition, thermally induced elongation or contraction is the same on both of them. Thus, gauges A and B bear the same thermally induced strain, which is compensated to let the output. It will be zero because these gauges are connected to adjacent sides. Okay, so I will show the diagram of this active dummy method. You can see it is the active dummy method. So in this active dummy method, I am taking two strain gauges. I am taking two strain gauges. One is A strain gauge and another one is D strain gauge. One is A strain gauge and another one is D strain gauge. These two strain gauges are connected with each other. One strain, the A strain gauge is connected to the object and the D strain gauge is connected to the dummy object. Okay, so the load is acting on the only A. You can see there is a tensile load acting on the A strain gauge. There is a tensile load acting on the A strain gauge. And you can observe this strain gauge, there is no load acting. There is no load acting on this strain gauge. But the temperature is varied both strain gauges, but the temperature is varied both strain gauges because of the load acting on the A strain gauge. You can observe it is the strain gauge. So this strain gauge is connected to a one Wheatstone bridge circuit. That means resistance is changed. The resistance is changed in this circuit. The resistance is changed in the circuit with the help of this A strain gauge. Automatically the resistance is changed and automatically the temperature of the strain gauges is changed. Temperature of the strain gauges is changed. Okay, so we are not applying any type of loads on this strain gauge D, but the temperature is varied. But the temperature is varied. Okay, so this is the active dummy method. Is the first one, active dummy method. Okay, next self temperature compensation method. It is theoretically the active dummy method described above is an ideal temperature compensation method, but the method involves problems in the form of an okay. Sorry for the interruption. Okay, you can see self temperature compensation method. It is theoretically the active dummy method described the above is an ideal temperature compensation method, but the method involves problems in the form of an extra task is bonded two gauges and install the dummy block. This condition you are observed in the active dummy method. Okay, so to solve these problems, the self temperature compensation gauge was developed as the method of compensating temperature with a single gauge. So how much amount of temperature is developed on that strain gauges? We are using active dummy method. That means one is active strain gauge and another one is dummy strain gauge. We are taking in the dummy strain gauge. We can measure the how much amount of temperature is developed on that dummy strain gauge. We can calculate, but we can avoid these two different types of strain gauges. We are using to avoid that condition. Only we are using one type. Only we are using one strain gauge to find out the temperature. Okay, that is self temperature compensation method. With the self temperature compensation gauge, the temperature coefficient of resistance of the sensing element is controlled based upon the linear expansion coefficient of the measuring object. The self temperature compensation gauge, the temperature coefficient of resistance, how much amount of temperature is developed on that strain gauge, that temperature coefficient of resistance of the sensing element is controlled. The sensing element, the temperature sensing element is controlled based upon the linear expansion coefficient of the measuring object. Okay, so the sensing element is controlled by the um, linear expansion coefficient that is connected to the measuring object. Thus, gauge enables a strain measurement without receiving any thermal if it is matched with the measuring object. That's the gauge. So the gauge is used to help the it enables the strain measurement without receiving any thermal effect, without receiving any thermal effects of that uh, strain gauge, and it is matched with the measuring object, and it is also matched with the measuring object. So that is the main thing in the self temperature compensation method. The operant strain that comes into play as the temperature changes can be represented in a simplified manner. That is, epsilon is equal to AR by K plus AS minus AM into delta I. So just you can see this condition. What is this condition? And I will explain in further classes. Okay, so just note down this condition. How much amount of temperature is calculated uh, by using this condition. Okay, you can see there is a ES. It means operant strain of the strain gauge. We can calculate this operant strain of this strain gauge, and that is sorry, it is alpha R, that is temperature coefficient of the electrical resistance, and alpha B thermal expansion of coefficient of measurement object, alpha M thermal expansion coefficient of the measuring grid material, K is gauge factor. Okay, so these are the different terms of the self temperature compensation method. And what are the different applications of these strain gauges? So based upon these strain gauges, we can calculate the force, torque, pressure, flow rate, and residual stresses. These amount of areas we can use the strain gauge and calculate the uh, temperature methods under different strain measurements. Okay, and how it should be measuring the force by using strain gauges. You can see what is the procedure of strain gauge. Force can be measured using strain gauge load cells. A load cell is a transducer that is used to convert a force into electrical signal. So a transducer, one type of transducer is used in the strain gauge. The transducer is helps to that how much amount of force is acting on that strain gauge. That force should be converted into electrical signal. Okay, a load cell is made by bonding strain gauges to a spring material to efficient detect the strain. Strain gauges are bonded to the position of the spring material where the strain will be the largest. Okay, a load cell is made by bonding of strain gauges with a spring material. A spring material is attached to that strain gauge. It is what is the purpose of this spring material in that strain gauge? To efficiently detect the strain. So efficient working of the strain. How exact forces should be taking this strain gauge with the help of this spring material. Okay. Next, two gauges are along the direction of applied load and other two are right angle to this. Okay. Where there is no load, all gauges have same resistance and bridge is balanced. When load is applied, there is change in resistance and hence some output voltage is there, which is measured applied load. Whenever we apply the force on this strain gauge, automatically the resistance is changed. The resistance is changed, and the resistance is changed. The voltage is also changed in that transducer. So based upon this condition, E is equal to V by 2 into 1 plus mu into K into P by A into E. So based upon this condition, we can measure the applied load. Okay, so P is equal to load to be measured. So these are the different conditions. And next one, same. as the force measurement, and we can calculate the pressure measurement also. So the pressure source and pressure sensor diaphragm, that is mechanical output, gives the pressure sensor. That mechanical output is taking the strain gauge, and the signal conditioning electronics. That signal conditioning electronics, we can calculate that how much amount of pressure is developed, uh, is fall on that object. We can calculate by using strain gauge. Okay, flow measurement, and also flow should be measured by using strain gauges. Flow pitted tube. You can see what are the constructional details. Flow is passing through that pitted tube. So the pitted tube, that is differential pressure transducer, is taking that flow. That output is giving the, that is mechanical output is giving to that strain gauge. So the strain gauge is calculated, how much amount of flow rate on that pitted tube, that is uh, conditioning electronics. Okay, measuring flow rate using the Venturi effect. So the Venturi meter is taking, the Venturi pipe is taking, the flow is passing through that Venturi pipe, and differential pressure transducer. You can take the mechanical output. In that mechanical output, strain gauge, conditioning electronics. These are the constructional details. In that strain gauge is calculate the flow measuring of the Venturi pipe. Okay. So thank you guys. These are the method of usage of resistance strain gauges in different applications. And next class we can see a new topic in this unit. So thank you guys.